We have an entire front porch rebuild for you today, guys. We're gonna do it all in one video starting right now. We're gonna be going step by step, start to finish. We're gonna show you how to demo a porch, how to rebuild a porch, including the roof, all in one video. So if you have a few minutes, stick around to the end and you'll see just how to do it. Obviously, first things first, we start with our demo. We rip everything completely out. We have a concrete dumpster on site. This was deteriorated and it was time to go. I was able to do this simply with a sledgehammer and a pry bar. That's all it was needed. Very easy. Once done, we realized there was no footings under this porch at all. So we got to stop. We got to get permits. We got to call the dig number. Got to get everything marked out. Once we get our permits, you can see the placards in the window. We can begin to dig out with our excavator. We have to get 3 foot down. Code here is 3 foot below grade for frost coverage. That's the code of how much we must dig and start our footing at that level. We are digging and hauling the dirt away. We're making sure we're 3 foot again below grade all the way around. We're also scraping back the middle because we're going to pour another 6 inches of concrete in there. And we realize the block wall comes down with the little flick of a pinky, so that's got to go. That was only sitting on dirt. We got to pour something. We got to build something in there as well. A lot of extra work on this job. We always give prices to what you can see to grade height, and then we have to reassess if it goes below. We don't have x-ray vision. Next, we're laying out for our rods or putting our rods on our rebar chairs or marking our pins for our heights. We're just going to pour this all the way up because it's easier to do. So we're going to be pouring 3 foot of 4,500 pound concrete that is fiber mesh reinforced, and it's going on top of rebar. And we are taking our rake and our come along. We are spreading it all around. So our footing is going to be 3 foot depth. And then our base is going to be 6 inches in the middle, so we're going to have at least 6 inches of concrete everywhere. We are using our rake and making it a bit rough so that we'll be able to have adhesion, so we'll be able to stick on top of it. Now that the wall's down and the footing is in, our block is being delivered. It's going to be 2 cubes of block. We have a lot of wood that we have to repair here, so we're going to do that. We're going to wrap it in ice and water shield. We're going to put new AZAC under the door. We're going to hose this off, and we're going to build up the outside and run a new block wall that is going to be going under the door. We start with 4s to get us to the right height. Then we lay our 8s. We're tying in with Simpson strong ties. We're making these. We're fabricating our own brick ties because these Simpson strong ties are stronger. We're locking them in course by course, every other course as we go. We're filling this wall completely solid once we get it built to the top. So unlike the old wall, this wall will be completely locked in. Got our 4-inch pancake, squeeze grout in underneath, and we're good to go. And we can now begin our actual block build of the porch. We check box square, make sure it's the same going both ways. We do our 3, 4, 5 triangles, and we're off to the races. We do this entirely out of block. Our first course is they're 8-inch block, and we want 7 and 5/8 or 7 3/4 inch steps. The blocks themselves are 7 5/8, so they can be held down to achieve it. You measure down 11.5 each course, so you want 7 3/4 inches of rise, and you want 12 inches of depth. We mark back 11.5 because we want 12 with our limestone on there. As you can see, we fill our blocks completely solid as we go, so we have a strong platform to build on. We use high-strength concrete mix to fill all the CMUs, all the holes of the blocks. What that does is goes down and locks all the cells together, and it locks all the block together, making them that much stronger. Is it a necessity? No, but it's what we do. Now it's time to parge coat and render all the way around the porch. We do that, and while we're doing that, we put our scratch coat on. This is for better adhesion for our cultured stone. The rough surface and the grooves give it something to grab onto when laying. Now we're filling everything in completely solid, as you can see here. Now we add our Acryl 60 to the mix. That's acrylic fortifier to type M, sand, and water. And what we do is we start with our corners first. We stagger our corners always. And then once the corners are built, we run in between. We do our steps first. So we lay all of our steps. We wet the backs of the stone with the acrylic fortifier in the water, just a bonding agent. And then after we do all of the steps, we can turn and follow what we did there all the way around. This particular stone is Kentucky Blend Dutch quality limestone, and it's laid like this. It looks a lot like running bond or like you would do tile, but this is not a dry stack. This is how it's supposed to be laid. This is how it looks the best. We weave the corners as well as we tying into the corners on the side of the house. Next, we blow everything off. We squeeze in all of our joints. We run our grout bag through that same water with the acrylic fortifier that is in the same mix. It's the same mix to lay the stone that we use to do the joints. The joints are what make the stone, so take your time and do them perfectly. You must go through them with a fine-tooth comb. We go with the back of of a paintbrush. We use our finger to shape, then we brush it with that paintbrush, then we go over the whole thing in a whitewash brush and completely brush it down, get off any snots that might be on there, make everything clean, neat, and pristine. The joints, again, are what make it. Now that all the joints are done, we're jointed in stone, it's time to take that acryl 60 fortifier, excuse that verbal diarrhea, and we're just scrubbing our stone completely down to help it bond once we lay our limestone. We're using the same mix, type N mortar, sand and water, and acrylic fortifier. We spread. We lay our limestone with a bit of pitch. You want pitch to have water run away from the home. We use 8-inch limestone on the tops. The reason is we want our little block lips that you see there, our little block ledge, to be able to catch our rebar. We check for square, we make sure our 90-degree angles are perfect, and then we lay our return pieces. Now we do the rest. The rest are 12-inch stone. Again, slight pitch. You want pitch running away from the stone, away from the porch. Water always runs away from the porch. Now, with all the limestone on, we have an even 7 3/4-inch rise on every single tread. We fill in behind with a grout bag, and then we float it out, rub it out with a sponge. We have our 3/4 clean filled in the porch top. We are raking it around. We have our rebar, and we'll add a little more rebar just for extra measure. Now we're pouring 4,000 PSI concrete. It is also fiber mesh reinforced. We use our mag float after doing our screeding, knock down all humps, bumps, and lumps. Then we pull out our finish trowel, make sure all lines are completely gone. We hit with a rough edge just to make everything nice. And then we're going to take our sponge float when it's ready. That was a little premature. And we are going to be sponge floating because we want traction. We want rough surface for anti-slip. Then we picture frame with the edger to match the rest of the sidewalk. We hose it down every hour because it's very hot. We don't want any cracks on the top due to it's setting too fast. Now here is our completed look. As you can see, all the cement ties together and dried a nice white. Thanks for watching.